The wind howled like a warning nobody heeded. This wasn't ordinary Seattle drizzle, it was a full-blown atmospheric river, horizontal sheets of water slamming the coast, trying to erase the city one drop at a time. I stood trembling on the wrong side of the wrought iron fence that guarded our Medina waterfront mansion, wearing nothing but a drenched cotton sweatshirt and jeans that clung like a second, freezing skin. My teeth chattered so hard I tasted blood. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows glowed the soft amber light of the great room, my stepmother, Elaine, laughing softly as she handed a steaming mug to my half-sister, Brooke. They looked cozy. Untouched. Safe. Elaine had changed the gate code that afternoon. My phone was down to 9%. I didn't pound on the intercom. I didn't scream for mercy. I called my father. Before I reveal what he discovered on Brooke's laptop that flipped the entire script of our family, drop a comment below. Tell me your city and the exact time you're reading this. I need to know how wide this truth is spreading. 25 minutes earlier, the dining room had smelled like seared fillet and fresh thyme. I was folding napkins, trying to earn one of those rare approving glances from Elaine. Then Brooke burst in from the hallway, mascara already streaking, clutching her laptop like it was evidence in a murder trial. $14,000 gone, she wailed. My college Europe fund. Someone drained it. Her finger jabbed toward me. She must have guessed my password while I was in the shower. She's always jealous. I opened my mouth. No sound came out. Elaine didn't pull up the bank app. She didn't ask for timestamps or two-factor codes. She simply turned to me with the same look she'd worn every time I dared to exist louder than Brooke. Quiet, surgical contempt. The backhand landed before I could blink. Not hard enough to bruise the skin, hard enough to bruise the soul. She marched me to the side entrance, shoved me into the storm, and reset the electronic lock with a satisfied beep. Learn what betrayal costs, she said through the closing door. Most kids would have begged. Hammered the call button. Promised anything to be let back into the warmth. I didn't move. After 14 years of being the designated scapegoat, I finally understood. This wasn't punishment. This was pleasure. Elaine needed me small, soaked, and sorry so she could feel righteous when she eventually cracked the gate open. Begging would feed the machine. Silence starved it. So I stood still, letting the cold carve something unbreakable inside me, and waited for headlights. They arrived fast, high beams slicing the deluge like knives. My father's black Tahoe didn't hesitate. It didn't pause for the gate code. It accelerated, jumped the curb, shredded Elaine's meticulously manicured rose garden, and tore through a row of imported Japanese maples. Metal screamed against stone. Branches snapped like gunfire. The SUV skidded to a stop inches from the marble steps. Dad was out before the engine quit. He draped his wool overcoat around my shoulders without a word. The warmth felt violent after so much cold. His face was granite. Stay close, he murmured. He didn't knock. He drove his shoulder into the double doors. Antique oak cracked like thunder, hinges groaned and surrendered. Inside, the air was lavender-scented and still. Elaine stood frozen mid-sip, porcelain cup trembling. Brooke huddled on the sectional, wrapped in cashmere, eyes wide with the practiced innocence that had protected her for years. Have you completely lost control, Daniel? Elaine hissed. You destroyed my landscaping. I was disciplining her. She needs boundaries. Dad didn't answer. He crossed the room in wet, deliberate strides, leaving muddy footprints on the 8-figure rug. He stopped in front of Brooke. Hand it over. My laptop is private, she whispered, glancing toward Elaine for rescue. Now. When she hesitated, he simply took it. Brooke lunged. He lifted the device out of reach like he was separating a toddler from matches. I pay for the Wi-Fi. I pay for the Apple Care. I pay for everything in this house, he said quietly. That means I see everything. He mirrored the screen to the massive TV above the fireplace. The serene ocean screensaver disappeared. Venmo transaction history filled the 65-inch display. $14,000 Elite Couture consignment. Memo, limited edition Birkin waiting list deposit. The room went deathly quiet. Elaine recovered first. That could have been anyone. Maybe she. Dad swiped again. Gmail opened. A confirmation email from Hermes, timestamped 4 hours ago. Shipping address, Brooke Whitaker, care of friend's house in Clyde Hill. Did your sister order a $7,000 purse and have it sent to someone else's address? He asked Brooke softly. She shook her head, tears genuine for once, ugly, panicked. I deserved it, she choked. You don't get how hard it is to keep up. Dad wasn't finished. He opened messages. The top thread was a group chat labeled Inner Circle. Last message, sent 17 minutes ago while I was becoming hypothermic outside. LMAO, it's working. The charity case is literally drowning in the driveway. Elaine is buying every word. Rip loser. Attached, a grainy photo of me, hunched against the fence, lit by security lights. Elaine tried to step in front of the screen. She's 17, Daniel. Hormones. Pressure. We can fix this. Dad scrolled up. Then he opened trash. Buried there, an email from the National Youth Science Academy. Subject, full ride acceptance, Seattle cohort. Date, yesterday. My name. My future. And beneath it, the auto-reply sent from my own email account 20 minutes later, decline offer. Deleted immediately. He turned to Brooke. Voice barely above a whisper. You didn't just take her money. You stole her chance to leave this house. To breathe. For the first time in my memory, Elaine had nothing to say. Brooke collapsed into sobs. I stepped forward, no longer shaking. You were never scared I'd become a thief, I said. You were terrified I'd become something you couldn't control. Dad looked at Elaine one last time. You told me you were keeping the family together. He nodded toward the giant screen. That's what you protected. He pulled out his phone. Called the county sheriff. The trust my grandmother had written held the deed. Elaine's residency was conditional, ensure the children's safety. Locking one out in a Category 3 atmospheric river breached that condition. Sheriff's deputies arrived in 20 minutes. They gave Elaine and Brooke 10 minutes to pack. I watched them leave in the same storm that had almost killed me, two silhouettes swallowed by rain, no longer queens. The house went quiet. Truly quiet. Later, Dad heated milk on the stove the way he did when I was 6. He didn't lecture. He didn't apologize. He just handed me cocoa and said, "The academy emailed again. They'll hold the spot if you want it." I accepted. They thought power was about control. Turns out real power is consequence. And this time, the storm finally washed the right people away.